Alright, so I got a video of Ryobi tools that I made a while back, and that was before I made the conversion to the red life. And so now I've got my own assortment of red tools that I like a lot more than the green that I had before. So I figured show them off a little bit. As you can see, I got my own extensive collection of packout, which I've really enjoyed a lot. Pretty expensive up front, but they have had more benefit than downsides. It's a lot better than carrying around 5-gallon buckets or whatever else. I was doing a lot of other things before. A lot better. And then I started out with, this is my first Milwaukee tool, was this 1/4-inch 18-volt driver. Unfortunately, that has recently broken, but I got a little bit, about 2 years out of it. Driven lag screws. It's gotten a lot of, I've used it for things that it shouldn't be used for, but it held up until recently. It finally broke something. After that, I got into the M12, the fuel. This was my first fuel guy here. That guy's also amazing. I've used that for mixing mud. I've used that for all kinds of crazy stuff too. I really like that. Driven on lag screws with that. That guy can do quite a bit. And I got this oscillating tool. And that was just because it was fairly priced compared to the competitors. You know, I was looking at DeWalt. I was looking at Rigid, Ryobi. I was looking at all that stuff. Then I got, then later on I got what I use all the time now, which is another 12 volt. This is the M12 Surge, which I really, really like. I think this is the Gen 2. I really, really like that. As you can see, I label the crap out of all my tools. I put orange tape, my initials all over the place. I just don't like guys. You know, that way if they're holding it, I have a reason to go after them for. They can't just be like, oh, it's, I found it, whatever. But yeah, I really like this guy. And I got, I think, a 3-inch Malco 1/4-inch 5/16 attachment, which I really like. It's just because I do HVAC, heating and air. And that tote right there has also been super incredible. Along with these 3 guys right here, these 3 boxes I use for, I use them for all my wire nuts. I use them for all my gas fittings. And then I use the last box, let's see here, for all my PVC. Which, interesting enough, that center guy kind of turned a color. I think I must have left the glue undone a little bit or something. Yes, I really, really enjoyed it. And like the Ryobi video, that I had, talk a little bit about the history of it. Now, I've liked Milwaukee for a long time. I just could never afford it. And I started working, and I was able to afford it, and I bought it. And I could work more. And I bought more Milwaukee. And, oh yeah, one second too. I like their tape measures too. I like them. Although, I will say if I'm doing anything with wood, I prefer the Fat Max. But this 16-footer does perfect for me, whether it be I'm just doing, whether I'm doing plenums or I'm doing, duct runs, whatever, because I do a lot of sheet metal work. That works out great. It's nice and compact and light. I got smaller hands, so that, that works out well. PVC cutter is the only thing I don't like too much. This guy's a little tough. I've had better experiences with Rigid and Lennox, but that works okay. And these guys have kind of replaced. I used to carry strippers and linemans, and then I saw Klein came out with kind of like a hybrid, and shortly Milwaukee followed. And I really like Milwaukee's. I like it a lot better. They got 2 of them. They got this guy, which is a little bigger, and they got a smaller guy. I don't know the exact model numbers. I'll figure that out, though. And I just bought this guy, and I really like it. And, of course, I got the ink Zols and all that stuff. I got white, I got yellow, I got gold, I got silver. I got it all just because I do a little bit of everything. And this light is also super helpful in attics and crawl spaces. You can attach it to an extension cord, run it all the time. It's got 3 or 4 modes. It can have all 3 lights. It's, they all swivel and pivot. And I use that in a crawl space. And it was a real good deal. It was a really good deal there. I like that a lot. But yeah, so it's kind of cool, the history. When I was looking at it, so Milwaukee is kind of a interesting story. It was created by this guy by the name of AF, I think it's Seibert or Siebert. And he started out in 1922, but he got a partner in 1924 and basically created the first drill. So, picture it wasn't quite a battery power didn't come out until I think the 80s or 90s. And even still, it's kind of raunchy. But some of you guys might be familiar with the big old motors. If you see like the 3/4 or the 1-inch impact, what they have now for the 18 volts, that's pretty much what the original one looked like. Of course, it had a big old thick cord on it, probably required minimum 20 amps, and big old thing. But it was another one of those brands, kind of like Rolls-Royce, that developed because of the war. And so they provided a lot of polishers, sanders, all that kind of jazz for the Navy. And one day, Mr. Ford came over to Seibert or Siebert, I don't know how to pronounce his name. He said, "Hey, I need a portable, basically a hole dozer," I think is what they called it, for the assembly lines and all that stuff. And so he was like, "All right, let's take on the challenge." And so he got together with a team, developed this hole dozer, and that's kind of how they started out. And it wasn't until later on, I believe it was the 70s, that they developed the Sawzall, which is how I know Milwaukee is from the Sawzall, even though I didn't know they one of the first to create the drills, at least portable drills. But yeah, so I got that guy. That guy's also super. That guy's a monster too. I use that for all kinds of crap. You see, even got a big old like a 6 or 5 amp hour battery on there. But yes, that's also something kind of cool about them. Now they've been bought. Milwaukee tools have been bought and sold. I think it's been like 4 times. But the last time they were bought was by a company called Tectronic Tools or Tectronic Industries, which was in 2005. And that's kind of when they kind of redid it, and that's how packout became a deal. That's how all the fuel came about. It was kind of, they kind of revolutionized it. Tectronic Industries is part of the, tool brand mafia, and I think there's like 8 companies that kind of own all the tool brands. But yeah, it's kind of pretty interesting what they got going on. And then now, as much as I like to hate on Ryobi, and I like to hate on, Rigid, and, all the other brands, because I'm red only, because that's just how red people are, Milwaukee owns the licensing for Ryobi and Rigid. But Rigid is owned by another company, but they have the licensing. So I've also heard, rumors and whatnot that Rigid is manufactured in the same factories, and get the lifetime warranties, similar plastics, whatever the deal is. I'll end up doing separate videos on all these different tools and whatnot, just because I like them a lot. But yes, that's kind of the deal, because I've used Rigid, I've used Ryobi, I've used Makita, I've used Metabo HPT. I own DeWalt. I also own Makita, and I also own Ryobi. A lot of Bosch's stuff I like too. I worked at a cabinet shop for a little bit and got to experience all different brands, just because they all got their own things that they're good at. But yeah, so that's kind of the deal with them. Then also later on in around 1950 or so is when the whole hog, which is also something that Milwaukee was very popular for, was creating the whole hog, which was pretty much a right angle drill that was developed for MEPs, the mechanical electricians and plumbers. That's kind of what all these tools are about, is all MEP. And that's when Milwaukee got into more MEP stuff and developed the whole hog and some of the other right angle drills they have. And of course now they're absolutely insane. I mean, now we got guys we got tools for the guys on the pipelines with the pipe threaders. We got stuff with I mean, now Milwaukee's got their hands in everything. But they started out with the automotive industry, technically, because of they developed the first portable drill. However, now they're into everything, which is actually kind of cool. I enjoy it, but I also know that certain brands have tools that are better for everything, but now pretty much everything is pretty, at least that I've used, is pretty well rounded. And yeah, that's the deal with Milwaukee here. But yeah, I don't know. I only got into it just because I couldn't afford it for a while and saved up money, didn't really buy anything else, and I just went crazy and bought tools, and those tools allowed me to make more money and buy more tools, and I just kind of went down the rabbit hole. So here we are now. I mean, we're still growing though. I got a little too much pack out. I don't quite use all that pack out. This is more what I use right here, but I got all that just kind of for portable storage and all that other jazz. You see paints on there. It takes not even paint. That's primer. Walking through a parking lot one time and I had paint on the very top and it spilled down all my other boxes. But yeah, otherwise no complaints over here. I love packout. I like it a lot, along with all their stuff. But yeah, that's kind of my Milwaukee dump for now and a little bit of the history. But yeah, I'm looking to do some more things around the work that I do now, and I'll do in-depth stuff with all these tools. But yeah, thanks for watching.